Good morning, students. I am T. Dubey, and I hope that your mock examinations must be around the corner. And then, after hardly a couple of weeks, you will be having your final examination. And it is time for you to see whether your score is going up or not. In this line, yesterday I presented a video lecture showing you the analysis of the sample question paper 2023-24 issued by CBSE. In that analysis, I have shown some very simple but effective techniques of doing comprehension, of doing grammar questions, of improving your writing skills, and also how you can write exam perfect answers in your literature section. I repeat the same statement today also. If you are interested in taking up your marks in English and are planning to take it from 95% and above, then you do all the previous year papers and model practice sets according to the approaches that I am showing you and see your marks. I guarantee that in 1 or 2 classes you can say that you can score 95% and above marks in English if you work like this. Because I am not just doing advertisement, I am not just bragging or making the statement for sake of statement. I am showing it how it can be done. In today's class, I am going to present a previous year paper, that is SET-1 of 2023. Because this is actual previous year paper. So if you understand the level, you can easily know what your score will be. Right? So without much discussion, let's begin today's analysis. And again, it is possible that you can score good marks in reading. It is also possible that you can score some marks in literature. But if your writing is not up to the mark, you will always feel that you are lacking somewhere. And I would advise you to join my writing course so that you can assure your 100% marks. You can see that you are improving. So if you are interested in improving your writing skills, do join my course, offline or online. For further information, you can contact on the given number. And now after this, let me begin analysis of this question paper, the first set of 2023 English language and literature. Now, so this analysis is also in continuation of the analysis of the sample question paper that I have done. I will be training your mind so that you can develop a pattern. And once you develop a pattern of solving these papers, then you will automatically become confident. The fear of examination will disappear from your mind, and you will start, loving. You will start liking to take tests. So I want you to feel confident about taking tests. You should not be test or exam phobic. So my techniques will help you grow confident. Now, a lot of introduction has happened. So let's begin it. In my previous analysis, I told you that if you want to score full marks in the reading section, then first thing is to observe the given passage and try to understand what it is going to talk about. Then paragraph wise, you go on annotating the passage. Annotating the passage, that means underlining the important key points, then summarizing it in your own words, and then finally developing your overall concept of the passage. See how you can do it. Look at the first paragraph of this passage and let's begin today's analysis. So this is the first passage, or this is the first paragraph of the passage. Let us read it and understand it. So if I keep my video here, no, it will be better here only. So let us have the first paragraph. Please read it carefully. It says, happiness is like the sun. Let me take it a little down. It says, happiness is like the sun. It is often hidden by the clouds of thoughts, worries and desires. We have to scatter and dissolve these clouds to experience happiness. You don't have to create it. All you have to do is calm your mind, because when there is a quiet mind and inner peace, there is happiness. It is not something far away and unattainable and does not depend on circumstances, objects or events. Happiness is an inseparable part of our consciousness, of our essence, but hidden and covered from sight by our thoughts, desires and worries. Now, as usual, if you have to underline the key points, then I have already told you that first sentence in my, if you remember, in my first analysis also, I have told you that so far as the first sentence of each paragraph is concerned, it is very, very important, because it is the topic sentence of that paragraph, and from this topic sentence itself you can understand what is going to follow. So I have highlighted, keep this sentence in mind. So according to this statement, happiness is like the sun. So there is a comparison between happiness and the sun that rises in the east. The second part of the sentence, it is often hidden by the clouds of thoughts, worries and desires. So here thoughts, worries and desires have been compared to clouds. So happiness is sun and thoughts, worries and clouds. Thoughts, worries and desires are clouds. So comparative analysis has been done. Now the next part of the sentence, the next part says, we have to scatter and dissolve these clouds to experience happiness. So the author wants to say that in order to experience that sun, that means happiness, you will have to scatter and dissolve these clouds. Okay, so I think by this time, once you do the analysis, you can understand what the paragraph is talking about. So if we have to make a rough idea, the writer wants to say that so far as our happiness is concerned, it is like sun, and the sun of happiness is hidden by thoughts, worries and desires, which have been compared to clouds. So if you want to experience that happiness, you will have to scatter and dissolve these clouds of thoughts, worries and happiness. So this is the main idea of this paragraph. Hope you have understood, and the following sentences give the supporting details. So what does the author say in supporting details? He says, or she says, I do not know whether the writer is a male or a female. So you don't have to create it. That means you don't have to create happiness. What you need to do, you need to keep your mind quiet. Now, this is called analysis. In analysis, first of all, you develop your understanding, you develop your concept, and once you have developed your concept and understanding, things become very easy and you start believing in yourself. You start trusting yourself that yes, it is possible. 100% marks in English is possible if I work according to these steps, these approaches. So I think you must have understood what the first paragraph is talking about. Now, always remember, when a paragraph follows, it has connection with the previous paragraph. Fine. So let us establish the connection between the two. Look at this paragraph, what it is talking about. And then towards the end of this discussion, I will help you develop your memory, how you can memorize big passages so that you cannot make single mistake. Now, read the second paragraph. What does it say? The mind is always in a constant race from one thought to another, from one worry to another. It constantly moves from one object or task to another. So the mind is always in a constant race from one thought to another, from one worry to another. It constantly moves from one object or task to another. This restlessness hides the happiness that is within you. It is like a choppy sea that hides the bottom. When the sea gets calm, you can see the bottom. In the same way, when the mind gets quiet, you sense the happiness that is within you. So in this paragraph, if I have to summarize, right, so I will say, in this paragraph, the author has called mind restless. So we can say a restless mind. Better to summarize it in a phrase, a restless mind. So the second paragraph can be summarized in 3 words, and these 3 words are a restless mind. So how does the author of the passage prove that mind is restless? The author says that mind is restless because it is always in a constant race. It does not stay, it does not stabilize, it does not become calm, it does not become cool, it does not remain at one thought. It remains racing from one thought to another. And because it is always restless, therefore, it cannot see the happiness that is given in the first paragraph. So once you have become able to summarize the paragraph, there is no need to read each and every word and each and every line. Hope this is very, very clear. Moving on to the third paragraph. Let us see this paragraph. In this paragraph, the writer says, you cannot see a treasure at the bottom of a stormy and muddy lake, although it is there. However, when the wind stops, the water becomes still and the mud sinks, you can see the treasure. The treasure is there, whether you see it or not. So is happiness. It is always here, only hidden by thoughts, desires and worries. Now, so here in this paragraph, that means in third paragraph, the author has compared the mind to a stormy mind compared to a stormy sea or lake. And because mind is like a stormy, here he says, stormy and muddy lake, therefore it is unable to see the treasure of happiness. Now take your mind back to paragraph 2 and 1. In the first paragraph, the writer says that the happiness is like the sun. Now, I do not want to go into details. In the second paragraph, the writer says that our mind is restless. And in the third paragraph, he is comparing the mind to stormy or muddy lake. Now, moving on to the fourth paragraph. In this paragraph, he says, what does he say? You can experience more happiness in your life. Only your thoughts stand in your way of experiencing it. Next time you feel happy, stop for a moment and watch the state of your mind. You will be surprised to discover that it is calm and there are almost no thoughts in your mind. No thoughts in your mind. Since the mind is not accustomed to stay in this peaceful state for long, it soon becomes active again and the sense of happiness disappears. Now, so in this paragraph, the author is talking about importance of peaceful state of mind, or you can say that when mind is calm, mind can see happiness when it is calm. Now, how to develop your memory? Because usually it so happens by the time you come to the fourth paragraph, the information of the earlier paragraphs has already disappeared from your mind and your mind has become as fresh as it was at the start. And I have promised that I will strengthen your memory in my classes. I will make your mind so strong that you cannot forget, and I think you are understanding. So now in fourth paragraph he says, or she says, that you can experience more happiness when your mind is calm, when your mind is peaceful, when your mind is not restless, when your mind is at one thought. And you will be surprised to discover that your mind is calm, peaceful. Close your eyes. So in this paragraph, he is talking about peaceful state of mind. Paragraph number 5. Many people connect happiness to achievements of goals. So, many people connect happiness to achievements of certain goals. This makes happiness a reward and not an emotion that must be felt. We forget that it is something that comes by looking inward rather than waiting for an external trigger. Once you start looking inwards, you will have to treat yourself as you would treat a valued friend. This will lead to happiness. Take time to appreciate yourself, your work, and your accomplishments. Surround yourself with happy people and recall positive memories. It is important to recognize that you have the power to feel happy within you, and with practice, it will be felt frequently. So now in this last paragraph, the author highlights one fact, and this fact is this, that happiness is a reward. Happiness is a reward that can be achieved. That can be achieved through hard work and practice. So this is the summary of this paragraph. Now let us have a brief discussion of this paragraph or the entire passage. Try to think now. As I have told you, the deeper your thinking is, the more stronger you feel, and you can speak well, you can read well, you can write well, and above all, you will feel comfortable. So let us think. Try to recall what the author has explained in the first paragraph. If you remember, the author has written in the first sentence of the first paragraph that mind is like the sun. And this sun is hidden by the clouds of thoughts, worries and desires. And therefore, because these clouds of thoughts, worries and desires hide this happiness, this sun, so it needs that we scatter them, we spread those clouds, we dissolve those clouds, only then we can see that happiness. In the second paragraph, he has given the reason why we are unable to see that happiness. Let us not go to that paragraph, just try to recall what we wrote. So in the next paragraph, the author has written that mind is always in race. It is restless. It does not stabilize on one thought. It keeps jumping from one thought, one object to another. So mind has been called a restless mind. In the third paragraph, I think the mind has been compared to a choppy sea or lake. And in the fourth paragraph, I am forgetting. In the fourth paragraph, what has the author told? So it happens, I have forgotten. Now I can quickly go back, but I do not want to. And in the fifth paragraph, he says that happiness is a reward. Happiness is a reward that is achieved, and achieved through hard work and practice. So overall, we have understood what the passage is talking about. So initially, now, once you have understood the passage, you will find that you can answer any question. Any question. Because if the question has to come, it will be based on the passage itself. So my suggestion to you is to develop your understanding first. Then everything starts happening smoothly. Now, let us go to first question. Based on your understanding of the passage, answer the questions given below. Why does the author say that you have to scatter and dissolve these clouds to experience happiness? Hope you can answer now. Because in the second line of the first paragraph, this line has been given. So why does the author say? Why does the writer say? And remember, this is previous year question. So writer says that we have to scatter and dissolve these clouds to experience happiness, because these clouds of thoughts, worries and desires hide that sun. So where is that option? Our thoughts and worries hide the true essence. So your answer will be 1. This will be your answer. Answer 1. So your first option will be the correct answer. Now moving on to the second. Select the option that corresponds to the following relation below. Happiness is like the sun, hidden by clouds of worry. Fine. So what is happening over here? In this sentence, you see happiness is like the sun, hidden by clouds of worry. So you do not need to read the passage, because here 4 sentences are given. And you have to just establish the same relation in one of the options. That's all. So if you are trying to answer this question by reading the passage and not understanding, perhaps you cannot solve it, even if you are reading it, even if you are reading the passage a number of times. Now, so the same word, the hide word is here. The choppy sea hides the treasure of happiness. So your answer will be C. Your answer will be C. Because It is the only option that is showing the same relation. Happiness is like the sun hidden by clouds of worry. The choppy sea hides the treasure of happiness. Now moving on to third question. Select the option that displays what the writer projects with reference to the following. Paragraph 1. Now in this question what happens? It's a very good question. Happiness is not something far away and unattainable. So the author has made this statement. So when the author is making this statement in the first paragraph, what is the frame of his mind? What is his projection? What is his thinking? What is his belief? What is his belief? So in a way, you have to understand writer's thoughts or opinion. So is he doubtful? No. When the writer is saying that happiness is not something far away and unattainable, in simple words, if I say, the author wants to say that happiness is not far away and it is achievable. It is unattainable, that it cannot be attained. That means that cannot be achieved. So in other words, you can say the meaning of this statement is that the author wants to say that happiness is not far away from you. It can be achieved. Obviously, so it is writer's conviction. What do you mean by the word conviction? Conviction means confidence, faith, belief, self-assurance. So writer's self-assurance is that happiness is not far away from you. You can achieve it. You can get it. You can attain it. You can acquire it. It is not far from you. Just in order to achieve it, you have to scatter or dissolve the clouds of your thoughts. Okay, now moving on to question number 4. Select the phrase that states reference to the following reason. Paragraph 2. So in second paragraph, one reason has been given. This reason is this restlessness hides the happiness within. This statement has been given in second paragraph. If you remember, the author has told that our mind is constantly in race. It jumps from one point to another, one thought to another, and it remains constantly busy. It does not become peaceful, it does not become calm, it does not become stable. So what is the opinion? Reason is this. So here in opinion you can say, in simple words you can say, mind is restless. Or you can say because mind is restless, therefore it hides the happiness within. So you can say mind is constantly mind is constantly busy. Other options you can say mind is not peaceful. So opinion is this, then reason is this. So it should be the opinion. Moving on to question number 5. The writer compares the choppy sea hiding the bottom to. The writer compares the choppy sea hiding the bottom to treasure. So treasure of happiness. So treasure of happiness. Now question number 6. Based on your reading of the text, list 2 reasons why the writer says happiness is an inseparable part of our consciousness. Happiness is inseparable part of our consciousness. Remember, if you are not practicing such kind of questions, are not trying to understand, it is not going to be easy. So I would advise you to practice previous year papers like this. So happiness is an inseparable part of our consciousness. And you have to give at least 2 reasons. Why? Number one, it is hidden. 2, it is achievable. It is achievable. Number 3, reason number 3, you can say you need to scatter. You need to scatter and dissolve the clouds of thoughts, worries and desires. So you can give a number of reasons. Moving on to next question. What connect does the writer draw out between the treasure that cannot be seen and happiness? So what is the relationship? What relationship does the writer draw out between the treasure that cannot be seen and happiness? Okay, so that cannot be seen and happiness, connect is both are hidden. Both are hidden. Treasure is also hidden because the sea is choppy, and happiness is also hidden because there are clouds of doubts, there are clouds of thoughts, worries and desires. So the connection is this, both are hidden. Moving on to question number 8. The writer says, next time you feel happy, stop for a moment and watch the state of your mind. The state of mind will be calm. The state of mind will be calm. So if you are watching your mind, a calm, peaceful mind, supply 1 point to justify the following. Connecting happiness to achievement of certain goals makes it a reward, not an emotion. Yes. So connecting happiness to achievement of certain goals makes it a reward. So how is happiness a reward? Happiness is a reward because here you can say happiness is a reward because it has to be achieved through hard work and practice. Remember paragraph number 5. The author says that happiness is a reward. It is not an emotion that needs to be felt. Happiness will be achieved, and it will be achieved only through your practice. So in order to achieve happiness, you will have to practice. Moving on to question number 10. Evaluate the inappropriate reason for having the power to feel happy to be within ourselves. So here the author is asking you to mark the inappropriate reason for having the power to feel happiness within. So what is the inappropriate reason? Means you have to find out. Recalling positive memories? No, because you have to recall your positive memories. In 5th paragraph, writer is also asking us to appreciate yourself, achievements of certain goals, looking inwards. So recalling positive memories, appreciating yourself, achievement of certain goals, looking inwards. So looking inwards, though has said, I think recalling positive memories will be inappropriate. No, it will not be recalling positive memories because it should be achievement of certain goals. Achievement of certain goals. So this is your answer. Because author is asking us that you must recall your positive memories. You must appreciate yourself. You must be surrounded by people with positive mind. But this is your answer. The author is also asking us to look inwards. So this will be your right answer. So you see, I have taken around 30 minutes in one passage. But this 30 minutes is good. Why? Because this is analysis. And once you have adopted this approach, it will reduce your time. Your time will come down. Now, following the same method, let us do second passage. Now, let us apply the same approach to the second passage as well. Remember what methods we applied in solving the first passage. First of all, we read it thoroughly, underlining the key points, or you can say key phrases, then summarizing the paragraph and going slowly, developing our thorough understanding of the passage. This is what you should do initially. This will help you develop your understanding, and once your understanding is developed, you can reduce the time, you can go fast, and your score can automatically go up because you have understood now, you have mastered the approach. So let's begin the first paragraph, reading the first paragraph. There was a time when human interference was minimum, the number of wild animals was quite high, and there was no problem of their protection or conservation. So how can you summarize it? Right? In simple words, you can say protection of, let us use the word conservation. Conservation of wildlife, not an issue due to man's, let us use the word minimum interference in this world. In this world means in the world of wild animals. So conservation of wildlife, not an issue, no problem, because of man's little or almost no interference. There used to be a time. So this is how we can summarize first paragraph. Now let us talk about the second paragraph. Due to the irrational use of natural and biotic resources of the earth in the past, most of the wildlife has been destroyed beyond retrieval. According to an estimate, in India, about 200 species of wild animals and birds have become extinct, and another 2,500 are on the verge of extinction. Some of them are black buck, chinkara, wolf, swamp, this, that. This is the list of the animals that are endangered, or you can say they are standing at the verge of. So this paragraph is talking about this part. It is talking about due to irrational use of natural and biotic resources of earth in the past, most wildlife has been destroyed beyond retrieval. So this is, how can you summarize it? How can you summarize it? You can summarize it in like this. You can summarize like this. You can say wildlife, or you can say wildlife or natural disaster, natural resources. natural resources stressed due to, here I am using the word stressed because of that irrational use of natural. So wildlife or natural resources are stressed due to irrational use. Irrational use. This is all. So now the entire first paragraph can be kept in mind by keeping the mind. Conservation of wildlife not an issue due to man's less interference. And here wildlife or natural resources are stressed due to irrational use. So these are the two paragraphs that you can summarize. Now moving to the third paragraph. In India, the government and NGOs are taking keen interest in protection of wildlife. The Wildlife Protection Act 1972 has several provisions for the conservation of wildlife. As many as 165 game sanctuaries and 21 national parks have been deployed to protect the natural habitat and wild animals. Apart from this, Wildlife Conservation Week is also celebrated from 1st to 7th October every year. But still, there is a long way to go in this direction. So how can you summarize this paragraph? You can summarize it in this phrase. Steps, or better, steps taken to conserve wildlife in India. So this paragraph is talking about what are the steps, what are the measures, what are the remedies that have been adopted by the government of India in order to conserve wildlife. So this is the third paragraph. Now remember the first paragraph. First paragraph is talking about wildlife's conservation or protection not an issue because of man's less interference. The second paragraph is talking about irrational use of natural and biotic resources. The third paragraph is talking about steps taken to conserve wildlife in India. Now let us talk about next paragraph. Preservation of wildlife does not mean a blanket protection to all faunal and floral species. Rather, it implies a proper judicious control over the multiplication of plants and animals which interact together to provide a proper environment to man whose very existence is in peril today. Now, how can you summarize this paragraph? So it is distinguishing between a blanket ban, or here it is distinguishing between a blanket ban and talking about a proper judicial control over multiplication of plants and animals. So the author wants to say that preservation of wildlife does not mean that you do not have to use natural resources, that you do not have to kill these animals for judicious use. You do not have to cut trees. But what should happen? There should be a proper judicious control, that means the rational control, how much it should be used, how much it should not be used, this. So how can you summarize it? You can summarize it in this phrase. So author is talking about what? Sane or judicious use of natural and biotic resources. So in this paragraph, author is talking about sane or judicious use of natural and biotic resources. And now moving on to, it is our urgent duty to protect the natural splendor of ecosystems and to evolve a system of coexistence with every living creature upon the earth. So this can be summarized in this way. This way you can say here. Urgent duty of man to protect natural, what should we say, natural splendor. Splendor here doesn't mean natural existence. Let us use the word natural existence, right? To evolve a system of coexistence and coexistence. Two things. So here in paragraph number 5, he's talking about, writer is talking about importance of coexistence, man and animals living together. And this is a graph. So in this graph you have to see what is this graph showing. So here you see which animals, how many species are in danger. So how can you see it? Let me put it here. Let me show you here. Yeah. Now it is possible for you to see. So you observe this graph very carefully. This is the number 0 to 1215, and this grid shows how many species of which creature is in danger. So beginning with, if you see, fish is the highest, that means 1174. So if a question comes, which of these species is mostly in danger, so it will be fishes, and least is the number 504. So reptiles is less in number, so least in danger is reptiles, and in greatest danger are fishes. So you observe it, and now let us move on to question section. So here you have the first question. Look at the first question. Question is asking you, based on your understanding of the passage, answer the questions given below. Question is, infer one reason for the following based on the information in the passage. So always remember, the word infer means take a decision, means conclude, make your own statement. So here one statement is given. This statement is, the number of wild animals was quite high and there was no problem of their protection or conservation. Remember, this statement has been taken from the first paragraph. And what can be the reason? There was a time when the number of animals used to be very high, but their protection, their conservation, their safety was not an issue. So remember the keyword that we wrote, less man's interference or minimum human interference. So the writer must have given that option. So where is that? Yeah. So that you have to write. Okay. I thought that option was given. So you can write due to minimum interference of man in the wildlife. Same keyword you have to write. Now look at question number 2. Select the appropriate options to fill in the blanks. Most of the wildlife has been. So here you can also answer the question without looking at the passage. There is no need. Most of the wildlife has been destroyed, because here it is has been, so verb should be third form, destroyed beyond retrieval. That means 1 and 2. So 1 and 2, retrieval 1 and 2. Your answer will be A, 1 and 2. Moving on to complete the following analogy correctly with a word or phrase from the passage. So flowers and garden. So relation has already been shown. Just like flowers are in a garden, similarly in the sanctuaries. So as flowers remain protected or are found in garden, so who or what? So you find birds and animals are kept in or are found in sanctuaries. So this is analogy. Select the correct option to complete the sentence. Judicious control over the multiplication of plants and animals which provide. So if you are maintaining judicious control over plants and animals, then your environment will remain balanced. So of course there will be environment word. So your proper environment will be the right answer. According to the graph, which is the most vulnerable animal? Fishes. We have already seen. Most vulnerable, we have already discussed. And least vulnerable. So least vulnerable and most. Least I think was reptiles. Yes, reptiles have 504. This is the least because this is 530 and most is 1174. So most vulnerable fishes and least vulnerable reptiles. So fishes most vulnerable, reptiles 3 and 4. So 3 and 4 should be your answer. Option 3 and 4, B will be your right answer. Now fill in the blanks by selecting the correct option. The wildlife protection policy has several provisions for conservation. Remember, not safety. Safety word is used for mankind and in general term. Protection, safety, conservation are same word but are used in different senses. So when animals and plants are protected from any kind of harm and are kept safe, it is called conservation. Moving on to question number 7. Substitute the word extinction with one word similar in meaning from the passage. Multiplying is opposite. Disappearance will be the right answer. Extinct, if an animal becomes extinct, so it disappears. List any 2 examples of government and NGOs trying to protect the wildlife. So last, governments and NGOs are making laws. Here you can see that paragraph. So in India, the government and NGOs are taking keen interest. Number 1, Wildlife Protection Act has been made and several provisions for conservation, as many 116. So several provisions have also been made. So you can give only these 2. Sanctuaries have been constructed. Natural habitat is being protected. Apart from this, Wildlife Conservation Week is being celebrated from these to these. So a number of steps are there. You can write any of the 2. Moving on to next question. List one reason why the government makes certain recommendation for protection. Because reason here you have to give. So you can say because animals and make certain recommendations for protection of, because most wild animals stand at the verge of extinction. So government provides certain recommendations for protections because most wild animals today stand at the verge of extinction. Select the option that can be the best title for the passage. So what can be the best title for the passage? Just think, and the title can be Wild Animals No, Sanctuaries No, Natural Resources, Conservation of Wildlife. So conservation of wildlife will be the right title for this passage. Hope you must be understanding, and you must have seen that I have taken less time in doing this passage, and as I move ahead, I will be showing you how to do this passage in hardly 5 to 7 minutes. But the first important thing is to develop your concept and adopt a pattern of solving the questions. Moving on to grammar section. Now, let us discuss grammar. In my previous analysis, that means in the analysis of the sample question paper 2023-24, I have discussed the details of grammar techniques. So I would advise you to get mastery over those techniques of grammar, and I have also shown that if you know those techniques, if you know those steps, then you can not only solve grammar questions 10 by 10 in hardly 2 to 3 minutes, but you can also know how to guess the coming questions. So suppose you have to solve these questions, and these questions are previous year questions. And you have mastered the techniques that I have described or discussed in the previous analysis. How you can solve 12 questions in just 2 to 3 minutes. Let me show you how. So look at question number 1. This question number 1 is based on phrasal verbs. So it clearly shows that questions will be based on phrasal verbs as well. So if you have not done any practice on phrasal verbs, I would advise you to work on it, because this question can be tricky. One more suggestion. If you feel it is a tricky question and you are uncertain about it, leave it, because you have 2 extra options. So you can consider leaving it and attempting only those questions about which you are 100% sure. But suppose you have to attempt, what should you do? Look at question number 1. It says, his offense was grave, but he with a fine. So here four phrases are given. In order to find out the correct answer, you must know the meanings of these 4, because this got word is correct in all the options. So only these prepositions back, through, over and off is making it suitable. So here, because there is a fine word here, fine, so this phrase got off will be the right answer. Reason is this. This got off phrase has two meanings. First meaning is to disembark from a vehicle. Say you are getting off a train or a bus, get off is used. She got off the train, she got off the car. So got off is used for disembarking from a vehicle. Second meaning is to avoid fine or punishment. So this question has been set on this meaning. Now, so far as the meanings of the remaining 3 phrases are concerned, I am not discussing because it will be taking time, so better to move on. Now moving on to question number 2. Mother, Ria, you went to the market. Is it crowded? Ria, the market is always crowded with people. Now I have discussed the techniques, approaches, therefore I am not discussing the techniques here. You can see it in the previous video lecture, that is analysis of sample question paper 2023-24 issued by CBSE. Now, in response to the question about the market, Ria replied that. So what is Ria's reply? Ria's reply is this: the market is always crowded. This statement can be transformed in both the ways. So Ria replied that the market is or was always crowded. So here, according to me, both the verbs is and was will be correct, because whenever adverb is used, always is used, it shows habitual action, and if a statement of habitual action is given, then its tense remains unchanged. So it can be correct in present also, past also. I don't know what CBSE will decide, but both the options will be correct. With your cooperation, so here there is cooperation. With your cooperation. So here thing is not certain. So answer should be we might. Now why not ought? Because ought is followed by to. So here to is not given. So in that case, because to is not given, so it will be incorrect. Must gives surety. So here somebody is cooperating and winning of match is not 100% certain. So it should be might. Next question. Nearly all the sports practiced nowadays is competitive. This question is based on subject and verb agreement. Here the verb is singular and this nearly all the sports. So this nearly all the sports is subject. So because this is subject and this is verb, so verb should be in agreement with the subject. So plural subject, plural verb. So is should be are. That means your option C will be right. Moving on to next question. When he is not none. So this is a subordinate clause. And time reference is future. When he, that means he hasn't come and the sentence does not refer to past time. So the action is going to take place in future. So it should be in simple future. So when he will arrive is not none will be the right answer. Next. Fill in the blank by using the correct form of the word in the bracket. A homestay is, bracket, stay in someone's house as a paying guest for a short period of time. So a homestay is, correct answer will be this word. A homestay is staying. A homestay is staying. Why staying? Because it should be a gerund here. Why a gerund? Write down this explanation if you want to write down. So you write down this explanation. Where should I find the space for this? Let me write it here. So write your answer, question number. Staying will be the correct option here because it is a gerund. It is a gerund. Why a gerund is required? A verb of incomplete. A verb of incomplete predication is followed by a complement, which is usually a noun or an adjective. So this will be the explanation. Let me explain it. So here the verb that you see here is a verb of incomplete predication, and a verb of incomplete predication is followed by a complement. The work of complement is done either by a noun or an adjective. So a gerund is a noun. This is a very deep question, so you need its explanation. Moving on to next question. Question number 7. Report the dialogue between Preeti and Miru by completing the sentence. So let us see. Preeti and Miru. Preeti, life's pretty dull. I need a job. Miru, what kind of job are you interested in? So in response to Preeti's claim that she needed a job, Miru is doing what? Miru is asking here. So your answer should be Miru asked what kind of job she needed. So Miru asked what kind of job she needed. So this will be your answer. In response to Preeti's claim that she needed a job, Miru asked what kind of job she needed. Clear? Or she not needed? What kind of job she was interested. She was interested in, because here interested word interested in has been used, so it should be interested in. She was interested in will be your right answer. Moving on to question number 8. Identify the error in the given sentence. So let me delete first this part. Honesty not only succeeds in the long run, but also brings about mutual trust and confidence. So this question has been set on subject and verb agreement. Look here. Here succeed is plural. Verb, its subject is honesty. So succeed should be succeeds. So error is succeed. It should be succeeds because its subject is honesty. Moving on to next question. Rachita shared some information with Reena about the trek in the mountains. Report Reena's question. Was the trek difficult? Go to my previous lecture and read the techniques of solving questions. So here your answer will be, let me take sufficient space. So Rachita shared some information with Reena about the trek in the mountains. Report Reena's question. So this is Reena's question. So what is? Reena asked Rachita, was the trek difficult? If / whether the trek was difficult. Now do not get confused. Here was will not be changed into had been because this is a state of being. So the verb which shows a state of being does not change into past perfect. We obey the natural laws. So the correct answer will be we must, because this is strong obligation. Postmaster Rama, show me a document to verify your identity. Rama, sure, I will show you my driving license. The postmaster asked Rama to show him a document to verify her identity, to which Rama affirmed that and said. So here this statement will change and it is in simple future tense. I will, so she would. Where is that? She would. That she would show him her driving license will be the right answer. Both the boys have got a scolding, but either of them paid heed. So here it is talking about scolding and here it is either, so it should be neither. So the error is either, it should be neither. So the correct is either should be followed by neither. Oh, we have completed. Very good. So I have taken 30 minutes. Anyway, but if I have to write, it will take hardly 2 to 3 minutes because I will not be giving explanation that I am giving you. Hope you are understanding, and as I have been saying that get mastery over the techniques that I have given in my previous video lecture. Moving on to writing section. Let us move to writing section. Now, after we have done grammar section, let us move on to the writing section. And in writing, you have to write a letter and an analytical paragraph that you know very well. Now, again, in my previous lecture also, I have been reiterating, I have been drilling into students' mind that you do not start writing any answer when there are two options. First of all, you read both the options carefully and go for the one that you feel is easy to answer. I mean, if you are confident of a particular question and you are less confident, then go for the one about which you are confident. For example, in later also you have two options. So here you have, let us read the question. First question asks you are Sudha Santosh staying in Payal Bagh. Your house is facing the local market and the main road. Consequently, there are a large number of children and adults begging in the market and the red light. Since there are a lot of eateries in the market, it is painful to see children of all ages begging. Write a letter. Here you have to write. So write a letter in about 100 to 120 words to the editor of a national daily, drawing attention to this problem. So here you have to write a letter to the editor of a national daily, drawing attention to the problem or menace of begging. Right. So here, so far, if you are writing a letter to the begging, I think easier. But let us see what is the second one. The recent monsoon has left behind a trail of ooze from potholes to blocked sewage and outbreak of malaria and dengue. This has not happened for the first time and residents have repeatedly complained about the issue. The bad roads and traffic jams are additional problems. Write a letter in about 100 to 120 words to the Commissioner, Public Works Department, drawing attention to the problems which seem to have become an annual affair with no hope of any relief. You are Rasili Rashid. So here what is happening, that you have to write a letter to Commissioner, Public Works Department, drawing attention of the Commissioner towards the problem of the trail of ooze or the problems created by the monsoon every year. So if I have to choose of the two, the easier one, the first one will be. Why? It has reason. First of all, you are in habit of writing a letter to the editor. So your mind and hand both are attuned or accustomed to the previous one. So you will be feeling more comfortable, right? So you go for the first one. Now, in my previous lecture, I have already discussed that letter does not demand a lot of writing. It's all about technicalities, how the marks are allotted to you. So first of all, you must keep the format intact. Number two, the organization of ideas, your content, and grammatical and spelling accuracy. So I am taking you quickly to the answer that I have already written you, because if I write, it will be taking a lot of time, right? So far as writing part is concerned, it all depends on your practice. The more practice you do, the easier you will feel. And as I have been appealing, if you do not feel comfortable in writing, do join my writing class. So let me show you how you should write the answer. So here is your answer. First of all, the format, as you can see, the first part is called sender's address followed by date. Here you can leave one line gap and then you can begin, or you can continue. Then the editor, the Times of India, Kankarbaag. Kankarbaag is a very famous colony in Patna, so I have used that, right? And then Patna, subject is addressing the problem of child begging and its consequences, already given. Dear sir, you can also write madam also. Dear madam, dear sir, madam, or respected sir, you can write either. I write this with deep concern about a distressing issue plaguing our locality, Payal Bagh. So remember, you are a resident of Payal Bagh. So you must mention, my house facing the local market and main road has become a hot spot for child begging, a problem that is not only heartbreaking but also has severe consequences. The sight of children of all ages. These pieces of information have been taken from the question. You can see the question, it's already given here. So here you can see a large number of children and adults begging in the market in red. Since there are a lot of eateries in the market, it is painful to see children of all ages. So information that I have included in the answer is already given. So read it very carefully and write it in your own words. Again, after writing your answer, show it to any teacher who can rectify your problems, because mastery comes, perfection comes only through practice, and there must be someone to detect, discover your problems. So if you are unable to join me, do not ignore your problems. Remain associated with any teacher or any other teacher. If you have a tutor, you focus more on writing and showing your answer. Request your tutor, request your teacher to read your answers and rectify your problems. Now, after later we have analytical paragraph. Let me show you that. Now, after later writing, let us see this analytical paragraph writing. And again, I would suggest you to do the same thing. Before you begin writing any of the two options, first of all you compare and try to find which of the two is easier. So let us read both the options first in order to understand which of the two will be good for you to write. So the first question reads, the bar graph given here depicts the adult literacy rate in two states of India. Write an analytical paragraph in 100 to 120 words, drawing comparison between the two, and write possible reasons for this difference. So this bar graph is showing adult literacy rates in Kerala and Haryana, and the graph, the grid line that is shaded in black is showing literacy rates in Haryana, and this lined grid line is showing literacy rates in Haryana. This is Kerala, this is Haryana. Now we will return to this part later. Let us read out the second question. On the basis of the given bar graph, by analyzing and carefully understanding the data, write an analytical paragraph. A survey conducted about the use of internet by the students shows that the students are using the internet more than they did earlier. The graph depicts for what purposes the internet is being used. Write an analytical paragraph drawing a comparison in 100 to 120 words. So here the graph is showing the purposes of the internet being used by both boys and girls, and there are various purposes: study, music, web series and social studies. So here you have to use a lot of data. Can be a little not difficult but a little more complicated, because here the data part is greater and here the data part is very simple. So I would prefer you to go for the first one because it's easier to write. So now once you have decided that you are going for this particular option, how to begin? First of all, you have to start with this graph. The graph that you are observing here in front of you is showing adult literacy rates. So for a starting part, you don't have to think. You have to start with the same. The bar graph given here depicts the adult literacy rate, and in place of two states, you make Kerala and Haryana. So this should be your starting sentence. The bar graph given here depicts, or you can use another word, shows or presents, such kind of words. Use these three words, one of the three words: depicts, shows, reveals, exhibits. So these are the type of words that should be used in the first sentence. Now what does it show? adult literacy rates in two states of Kerala, two states of India, Kerala and Haryana. It should be a first line. Now second line, begin with data. The literacy rates of male in Kerala is 91.7% and in Haryana it is 64.3%, which is significantly lower in comparison to Kerala. So far as female literacy rates in the two states is concerned, in Haryana, which is 80.6%, is much higher in comparison to 27% women, literate women in Haryana. Talking about average literacy rate in both the states, it is 86.1% in Kerala and 45.65% in Haryana. Now, the question is asking you to give reasons. What can be the possible reasons? Then, what should be done? What measures should be adopted in order to bridge this gap? So, I have written it. Better for you to write it. Look at this answer that I was telling you how to write. So the bar graph comparing the adult literacy rates in two states of India, Kerala and Haryana, reveals stark contrast in educational achievements between the two states. In Kerala, the literacy rate for both men and women is significantly higher than that in Haryana. The men's literacy rate in Kerala stands impressively at 91.7%, while in Haryana it is notably lower at 63.4%. So the same data that I was discussing has been organized here in proper sequencing or proper organization of ideas. Because writing needs practice. Writing needs practice. So I think after one or two more discussions, you will start writing even if you are not joining me. But my suggestion to you is to show your answer. And if you feel that you need to join, you must join any other teacher also, so that you can rectify your problems in writing section especially. So hope this analytical paragraph writing is also very, very clear. Now moving on to literature section. Now let us do the literature section. And as I have already told you, whenever there are two options for a question, first of all you see both the options and go for the one that you feel is easier for you to do. Easier means you can score more marks. So let us see which of the two options you should go for. Question number 6. Look at the screen. A is read the following extract and answer the questions that follow. Don't you want to have a look at the sites now that you are here? So this extract, as you can see, has been taken from the story Madam Rides the Bus, and sentences are easy to understand. Then questions are also easier, I think. Yeah, it's easy. Then let us see the second option. Lomov, he is old, but I wouldn't take 5 squeezer for him. Why? So I think from look itself you can understand that the first one has less to read, simple sentences, and question will also be, I think, easier. Yeah. So without second thought, you go for the first one. Now let us read it out and quickly do it. Don't you want to have a look at the sights now that you are here all by myself? Oh, I'd be much too afraid. Greatly amused by the girl's way of speaking, the conductor said. But you aren't afraid to come in the bus. Nothing to be afraid about that, she answered. So here the conversation is happening between the conductor and the little girl Valley. So you can understand it's not difficult. Now let us go for the question. Why did the girl not want to look at the sights? because she says that she will be all by myself. I would be much too afraid. So this option should be there. Afraid, 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 afraid. She had seen them before. She disliked. This answer D. So it will be answer D. Let me use this. So it will be D. Second question. Fill in the blank with one word only. The conductor clearly comes through when he hears the girl speaking. So when the girl is greatly amused. So here it is greatly amused. So the conductor is greatly amused. So here it can be, the word, proper word can be amusement. So it's conductor's amusement. You can also write curiosity, or these two words. Amusement will be the best option. So you go for the word amusement. Now look at question number 3. Select the option that correctly captures the application of the word sight as used in the extract. So what is the word sight as used in the extract? So let us go to the word sight here. Don't you want to have a look at the sights? So here sights means what? In simple language you can say beautiful scenes. Beautiful scenes. So the word sights here means beautiful scenes. So you have to, Rashid could not sight the tiger. No, here sight has been used as a verb, so it will not be the answer. Rashid lost his sight. No, so here it has been used. Sight of the eye means ability to see. Then Rashi. Then the general ordered the soldiers not to look at sight, not to shoot at sight. See here also means see. Rashid was fascinated by the sights of the city. So your answer should be this one. So beautiful. Your answer will be obviously D. So it will be D, because sights here means beautiful scenes. The last line indicates the girl's what? Let us see the last line. The last line is nothing to be afraid about that. So here she is confident that there is nothing to be afraid about boarding the bus. So it is her confidence, it is her self-awareness, self-assurance, self-confidence will be the right word. Now complete the analogy using a word from the text. Entertained, amused. So both the words are similar in meaning. So apprehensive means fear. So here you have to use the word afraid, because entertained and amused are similar in meaning. That means they are synonyms. So apprehensive and afraid. Now let us talk about, now let us do question number 7. It also has 2 options, and as I have told you, whenever a question has 2 options, first of all look at both the options and go for the one that is simple and easy. So let us have a look at the extracts first. So first one is Belinda embraced him, Mustard licked him. So this has been taken from the tale of Custer the dragon. And if we look at the question, Mustard was happily licking an easy question. Belinda embraced Mustard, again easy. So these questions are, and this extract is taken from Fire and Ice. Some say the world will end in fire. And there are 2 stanzas, and the questions also seem to be more difficult than the first one. So let's go for the first. Have a look. Belinda embraced him, Mustard licked him. No one mourned for his pirate victim. Ink and blink in gilded garret around the dragon that ate the pirate. So the extract is talking about the scene where the pirate is being killed by the dragon. Now let us see the question. Mustard was licking the dragon. So here dragon will be the right answer. The dragon. Second question. Belinda embraced Mustard out of shock, out of helplessness, out of happiness, out of gratitude. So it should be out of happiness, because after the pirate was killed, Belinda was happy. So option, it should be out of happiness. Should be B. Now you can also think of out of happiness and out of gratitude. So from the given extract, we can say that she might have been gratitude, but out of happiness, more for her happiness. So answer 3 will be most appropriate. Now moving on to next question. Why were Ink and Blink happy? So you can say Ink and Blink were happy because number 1, they were safe. 2, the pirate was killed. So this will be your answer. Complete the analogy and choose the word from the extract that means the opposite of the given word. So day and night are opposite to each other. So here steady is given. So this word will go with this word. Gyrate, because steady, that means stable, constant, not moving, and gyrate means move around. So steady is opposite in meaning to gyrate. The phrase no one mourned most sad most nearly means what? Most nearly means this. It means no one felt sad. No one felt sad because it is given in the extract also. No one mourned for his pirate victim. So no one felt sad will be the right answer. Now let us move on to next question. Short answer type questions. Now look at question number 8, and out of the given 5, first of all you choose the first 4 that you would like to answer, and then you begin answering. So let us have a look at these 5 questions. The first question is, why was the young seagull afraid to fly with his family members? Why does Annie think that paper has more patience than people? The people of Coorg have a tradition of courage and bravery. How has it been recognized in modern India? What happened when Maxwell took Mijbil to the bathroom? What does it tell us about Mijbil? Explain briefly the central idea of the ball poem. So of the given 5 questions, I think the first 4 questions are easy to attempt in comparison to the last one, because so far as the ball poem's central idea is concerned, maybe you may not be able to connect it to the central idea, so better to go for the first 4. Now if you have to answer the first question, what will be the keywords that you should use? Let me show keywords for the first question that you should use. Let me change the color. So here his first flight, number 1, it was his first flight. You can use this one. Then you can use second keyword, lacked courage and confidence. Third, The vast sea below frightened him. Was doubtful. He was doubtful. You can say doubtful. Doubtful if his wings would support him, and then this prevented him from joining his parents in the first flight. So these are the keywords that you should use. You note down and write your answer. Now, question number, you may pause the video, note down and then write your answer. Look at question number 2. So for question number 2, the keywords will be, these will be the keywords. Number 1, why does Annie think that paper has more patience than people? Number 1, paper is not judgmental. Paper is not judgmental. It allows one to pour their deepest thoughts and feelings. 2, does not criticize anyone. Then you can say silent, confident of the writer. So these are the keywords that you can use in answering second question. People of Coorg have a tradition of courage and bravery. How has it been recognized in modern India? Keywords for, so you pause the video, write down these points and then you write your answer. So the key points for the third question can be these points. Point number 1. The Coorg Regiment of Indian Army has received the greatest number of gallantry awards. 2, second point, use can this speaks of their bravery and courage. Number 3, point number 3, Coorg is allowed to carry firearms without having license, and General Karyappa hails from Coorg. So these are the points that you should use in. Let us discuss question number D. This question. What happened when Maxwell took Mitchell to the bathroom? What does it tell us about Mitchell? So if you remember the story, because it's always important to keep the key points in mind, and then you write it in your own words. That is the most important thing. If you cannot write your answer in your own words, then you cannot write exam perfect answer. Therefore, writing is very, very important. Now, how you should write answer to this particular question? Remember, the key point is hidden in the question itself. For example, if you begin this question, how you should write? When you begin like this, when Maxwell took Mitchell to the bathroom, the animal, use the word animal, or you can use Mitchell also, but better to use a new word. The animal went wild with joy. It plunged and rolled in the tub of water. After 2 days, it could go to the bathroom on its own, try to twist open the tap and would chitter with irritation on if it did not cooperate. The author found Mitchell using up every drop of water. It shows, remember look at the second part of the question. It shows Mitchell's playful nature and affinity. Affinity means attachment. Affinity with water. So this is how you can write best answer for full marks. Now let us move on to the next question. You pause the video and write this answer in your own words. Now let us discuss two questions from question number 9. So the first question is, why is Dr. Harriet tempted to keep Tricky on as a permanent guest? And why did Oswald frame the story of the balcony? Question number 3 is, what happened when Mr. and Mrs. Hall entered the stranger's room? So as I have been suggesting you that whenever you have options, first of all read all the questions carefully and attempt those questions about which you are confident. So I would suggest you to write the first 2 questions over here. And how to write exam perfect answer? If you remember the keywords, here you must keep the keywords in mind. So you begin your answer with the question part itself, like you begin here. Dr. Harriet was. Here the question is in present, but I would suggest you to write this in past tense. So Dr. Harriet was tempted to keep Tricky on as a permanent guest because the little pet brought happiness and contentment to the surgery, full stop. Then Mr. Harriet used to receive regular supply of eggs. There was fine wine and brandy, free flowing and Mr. Harriet and his staff's lives were happy and fulfilling. So these are the key points that you should keep in mind when you are writing any answer, because if you are beating about the bush and not using the relevant points, you will not be getting full marks. So writing is very, very important. Now look at question number 3. Why did Oswald frame the story of the balcony? Now if you have to write this answer to this question, how you should write? First of all, you write down answer to this question and then I remove and give you the answer to the second question as well. So here we go. What can be the answer? Why did Oswald frame the story of the balcony? So this question has been taken from the Midnight Visitor. So you can write Oswald framed. You can also use invented or cooked up. When you invent a new story, then you can use the word frame or cooked up. So let me give you another word. Oswald invented the story of balcony because he could think of it as the only option to get rid of Max, the other spy who had barged into his hotel room and was threatening him to hand him over the critical information regarding the new missiles. Possible. Realizing his threat because of his pistol, cleverly handled the situation and navigated the danger. So I am using some appropriate words because when you are writing your answer must stand out from others. Only then the evaluator would be impressed with you and would give you full marks. Plus, there should be no grammatical and spelling mistakes. So because here I am writing live, if you are going to sit for your mock examination or final examination, you must give a lot of practice to the same question. Okay, so this is answer to the second question. Now let us go to long answer type questions. Now let us see question number 10. And as I have told you, whenever you have two options, first of all see which of the two options is easier for you to answer. So let us read out these two questions first. First question is, timely help and sympathy are a great help for those who are in grief. Gautam Buddha helped Kisa Gautami by his kind words and guidance in overcoming her grief. It is a big relief for grieving persons if support and care are extended to them. How are kindness and sympathy important in a peaceful and joyful life? Now, so you have to keep these points in mind. How are kindness and sympathy important in a peaceful and joyful life? And if you are smart and clever enough to make use of the keywords that are already given in the question, it will be easier for you. So let me show you how you can write exam perfect answer using these keywords. So suppose you have to answer this. What is the question asking? Let us see the question once again. The question is, timely help and sympathy are a great help for those who are in grief. Gautam Buddha helped Kisa Gautami by his kind words and guidance in overcoming her grief. And you have to write, how are kindness and sympathy important in a peaceful and joyful life? So you have to begin this answer like this. Kindness and sympathy are important in a peaceful and joyful life because when Kisa Gautami, after her only son's death, was suffering due to suffering and craving for her son, she had become quite depressed and her mind was restless. When she met Gautam Buddha, he relieved her of her suffering and pain with his kind words, love and sympathy. In order to make her realize that death is common to all, he sent her to her neighbors asking her to bring a handful of mustard seeds from a house where no death had occurred. When Kisa Gautami learned the lesson of life on finding that she was not the only person who had suffered loss of death, her mind became peaceful and life enjoyable. It was all possible due to timely help extended by Gautam Buddha to a grieving mother. So in this way, you can write exam perfect answer. Now moving on to the last question of this question paper. Let us see what is the last question paper. Last question. Now let us deal with the last question of this question paper. Answer any one of the following questions in 100 to 120 words. And let us read the question. Put the fear out of your heart and you will be able to speak like anyone else. These words of encouragement from the teacher highlight that change of social attitude and encouragement can help a child like Voli to become confident and face the world bravely. On the basis of the lesson, Voli write how social attitudes towards Voli made her an introvert. What should be done to help such children to face the world bravely? And its second option is Matilda's over-ambitiousness was the cause of her destruction. Justify. So I think both the questions are simple and easy to attempt. But I would suggest you to go for A. Why? Because here, even if you don't have many key points in your mind, so you have a lot of material to use. But in the second option, you have a very precise statement. So in such questions, if you have some content included in the question, I would advise you to go for the one that has some content. And let me show how you should write exam perfect answer. And because I am writing it live, so it is possible that if you edit a few things may need to be changed. Now let us understand the question once again. Put the fear out of your heart and you will be able to speak like anyone else. These words of encouragement from the teacher highlight the change of social attitude, and encouragement can help a child like Bholi to become confident and face the world bravely. On the basis of the lesson, Bholi write how social attitudes towards Bholi made her. This is important. So first of all, we have to understand this part. We have to write how social attitudes towards Bholi made her an introvert, and what should be done to help such children to face the world bravely. So let's begin. So because first of all we have to write how social attitude towards Bholi made her an introvert. So you can begin this answer like this. Harsh social attitudes towards the simple girl Bholi had made her a reserved, reticent means one who speaks less, reticence, withdrawn and an introvert child. Let's begin it from the kind of treatment that she used to get at her house first. So she was a neglected child of all her siblings at home. Outside, she was subjected to mockery, snide remarks, and ridicule due to her stammering. Also, she was thought better to use. She was regarded as a burden because of her physical challenges and not so attractive looks. Her parents' only concern was her marriage and not her better upbringing and education. Now, how can you write answer to the second part? What should be done to help such children to face the world bravely? Teachers, let's begin from here. Parents, teachers, and society can play a pivotal role in helping such children like Bholi, shake off their fear and become self-confident and reliable. The best example of this act has been depicted through the personality of and understanding of her kind and empathetic teacher who helps her grow in a self-assured lady from a simpleton Bholi. So if you write your answer like this, I do not think the evaluator will reduce even half of your mark. So writing is a very, very important skill and it cannot be mastered in a day or two. It needs consistent practice under a very seasoned and experienced teacher. If you can do it on your own, that is very good. If you cannot, I would advise you to join a writing course anywhere where you think you can improve. But do not take a chance because it is examination and understanding writing is a very serious and long-lasting skill. So if you are willing to join my class, I would advise you to join it soon, because if time slips off your hand, then nothing can be done. Now after this lecture, I will be presenting another set from this year. Hope you must be enjoying it. So write down your answer.